Aloha headsets, it's your boy Frank, and it's time for your daily update. First up, your boy got an Instagram, and to kick it off, I'm giving away 10 copies of Quiz Night tonight to anybody who follows me. Yes, next Sunday, we're gonna pick those winners, so if you got an Instagram, hop on over there, follow at PSVR Frank, and you're entered. Now I have a mini review for Statik. First up, story. In the story, it's a little Portal-esque, as I've heard some people compare, in where you're a test subject. I'm not gonna give too much away, but it's actually kind of draws you in, and I think you're really gonna enjoy it. Visuals. The game is visually stunning. It really does a wonderful job making you feel like you're in the room and making you feel like the box is actually on your hands. And many times I got so drawn in, I was convinced that I was there. Audio. It's got a nice little like you're in a waiting room soundtrack that eases your mind when you get stressed out about doing the puzzles, which the puzzles are not extremely difficult. You just have to pay attention to your surroundings as well as what each individual button on the controller does. Gameplay wise, all the buttons on the controller do something except for the touchpad. So you can click in the thumbsticks, do the corners, all the analog buttons. Everything does something to the room. Sometimes you gotta look around to find the keys, but most of the time you gotta think for yourself. Drift-wise, I had no issues. The game was tight. Everything worked perfectly, and I've heard that if it does go off a little bit, you gotta just tilt your controller up and move it side to side, and you're good to go. Value-wise, it's 20 bucks, and it really is worth $20. This is a high-quality, handcrafted experience that is exclusive to the PlayStation VR. I don't know how many hours you're gonna get out of it because there are only 8 puzzles and a couple other little side puzzles, plus there is the cooperative action that's supposed to be coming, so I'm not 100% sure how much, if you're just a single player, you will get, but mind you, this experience is quality. And if you bring people over, it's a wonderful treat to show your guests because you can put them on one puzzle. It's easy, sit down, DualShock 4 in hands, and they can do it no problem. And the game kind of drifts you into it, so the way that your headset's on and your feeling is stupendous. Verdict-wise, I think this is a must-buy for the PlayStation VR. It really uses virtual reality to its finest, and I could never play this game in another format. Many games feel like VR is tacked on, but Statik truthfully feels like it was built from the ground up for virtual reality. The people at Tarsier Studios, kudos, you did an amazing job. And for $20, you can have your hands on Statik, I believe today or tomorrow, depending on where you're viewing from. Now, Korix, another wonderful game that just came out, needs your help with reviews, as well as all the other great VR games that are out there. So if you don't mind, go on over to VR Game Critic on Metacritic, create an account, and leave some VR reviews for these games you're enjoying, because they need us to outcry. I can't link you. You gotta do it on your own. So please, help these awesome developers out. Next up, for those of you enjoying Starblood Arena, which I certainly am, we got an update on the server side that has improved matchmaking tremendously. This is not the big update. That one's coming soon, but this one is definitely there to help you a little bit. Also, as a reminder, if you can get into a crew, which you can easily do if you just join PSVR Frank and headsets in the PlayStation 4 communities, then just crew up with one person, and it is so easy to find a Team Carnage match. Takes 2 seconds. Next up, Airtone. Now, I don't really know what this game is. It looks like kind of those Japanese ones again, but they're seriously considering VR support, so if you're into it, that's kind of cool, right? Next up, Ancient Amuletor got a spot on IGN, and boy, am I proud of my boys at TVR. They've done an amazing job on publishing this game, and I couldn't give them any more credit. I'm so happy that they made it there, so if you want to check out the full video, link is in the description. Next up, I got a little bit more information about why we might get a game delayed release in our region. First and foremost, you're on a list when you put a game into Sony. And if you get down the line to the list, then the people that look at it have questions and they're not happy, Boom, you're back to the end of the list. You gotta do it all over again. So you make it all over again. You then have to show that it fits onto the PlayStation 4 Pro as well as a normal PlayStation 4 with no issues. Boom. Next, if it's a VR game, it needs VR certification. So the frame rate's gotta stay there, the visuals can't make people sick, the audio's gotta be okay. Whole nother strenuous process that is difficult for every region and different for every region. So don't be complaining if you gotta wait a couple months on a game. We're still in new territory and they're trying their hardest, and it costs money every single time they try to push one of these through the process. Finally, Marble Land, a new VR puzzle game, is coming to PlayStation VR in July 2017. It looks pretty cool. I'm not 100% sure what you're gonna do or what you're gonna control, but I do like puzzle games. And finally, before we go, everybody's favorite ass, Frank. First up, Night Guy 750 asks, hey Frank, any idea if we're gonna get Rick and Morty on PlayStation VR? Night Guy, honestly, I have no idea when, but I have a strong feeling that we will get it. It's made by Alchemy Labs, the same people that did Job Simulator, and we eventually got Job Simulator, so I have no reason to believe that we're not gonna get Rick and Morty within due time. Next up, MrCzaro asks, hey Frank, you heard of Dreams? Sazo, I can't wait to check out Dreams. It's made by Media Molecule. My favorite developer is a Little Big Planet, and I think it's gonna be awesome. I really believe that it will sell a bunch of PlayStation VRs because the depth, if they really get it for us and it works as well as promised, will be amazing. Next up, Ryan Marvell asks, hey Frank, do you think that the Farpoint bundle is worth it? Ryan, I definitely think the Farpoint bundle is worth it. Not only are you getting a gun and the game for only about 80 bucks, unless you find it even cheaper on sale, like at Best Buy if you're near Club, it's only like 60 bucks, but the aim controller will already work with Dick Weil, which is launching the same day, as well as a ton of other games that as well as a ton of other games like Brookhaven, which is going to be adding support in the future too. And finally, Nate Kemena asks about Mortal Blitz and tracking. Nate, I'm sorry you're having issues. The big thing that I've noticed with tracking is lights. If you can get rid of any kind of gloss or glare or issues or lights behind you, your tracking will work top notch. Also with Mortal Blitz, you gotta have the camera up because you wanna move up and down and to the left and right. So just make sure, no pictures, no windows, no lights reflecting behind you. Camera's up high, and honestly, you should be good to go. Also, make sure you have a good charge on your Move controllers. If they're really old, honestly, that could be the issue. If they're not really charged, that could be the issue. So just pay attention to those things and you'll have a good game. And that's it for this one. Thank you guys for coming through. You're amazing. Hit that thumbs up if you'd like. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram to make sure that you're entered for your chance to win a copy of Quiz Night tonight. But more importantly, if you want to stay up to date on everything PlayStation VR and you don't mind this ugly mug, friggin' subscribe. I mean, come on!
Rispetti le donne.
Grazie, Italian Spider-Man.
Shut your mouth, pussycat, e farmi un macchiato. Pronto? Italian